And interesting stuff here from NRG, where rather than coming out with Rascal on a Tracer, where he was able to really make a lot of crazy plays, they're gonna put him on the Brigida, where, don't get me wrong, he's been good on the Brigida, but I don't know in a playoff situation if going to that 3-3 setup, the self-styled GOATS composition is necessarily the way to go, but NRG, no doubt, I suppose, at the very beginning here, because that's what they're gonna roll out with.
Yep, so triple tank, we got the Wrecking Ball coming out on in. It is going to be Hammond there. A lot of tanks on the battlefield now as the teams are going to be facing off. It is the traditional GOATS composition for NRG. Will XL2 have changed it up just a little bit, but take a look. Wuyao just going on in, rolling on through, isolating out Swan, but he has not been taken out yet.
Yeah, Swan got put into the corner, but Swan fought his way right on back out. Rascal, though, down. Both Brigidas out of the fight, and Wuyao gonna swing his way back in. Nice little knockup coming in there, and that's creating room for XL2. Wuyao was able to get back out with just a tiny bit of HP, down to 33. Tizzy, early Earth Shatter, hit the deck, drops the hammer, and XL2 off that super early Shatter. They're gonna be able to get the point.
And it's so difficult playing on this points up against Hammond. We saw it yesterday. I mean, that match, I believe it was it Mayhem versus XL2 when we were here on Night Market, the 99-99 that just went on forever. And so, Wuyao was one of those key contributing factors, able to make it happen. Able to get that victory for them. Coming into this fight though, NRG, they're gonna push forward. They've got the Earth Shatter this time, but it's the Nano Boost coming on out as Tizzy jumps on in. Swan gets a great charge on the Mega Chew as Tizzy just falls to his death.
Nice Shatter coming in. They get rid of the hamster. NRG, that initiation could not have gone any better for them. XL2, they thought they had the edge, but in the end, all they had was nothing. NRG retake the point.
So Wuyao now is gonna go ahead and swap off, goes over to that Diva. It's gonna be fairly traditional GOATS. They don't have, of course, the Moira there, but it's going to be the Nano Boost they're relying upon. Nene has a Graviton Surge, and so if he can get a lot of members, that's going to allow Tizzy to build up another Earth Shatter here. Now Rascal has now swapped off. He is on that Sombra, so now they're charging forward.
Early sound barrier in from XL2, answered by a barrier by NRG, and the Graviton comes on in. Everyone feeling their neighbor right now. Both teams still very much ahead. Swan low, still has an Earth Shatter in reserve. Nene charged up, look at the go. Wuyao out of the fight, of course, no longer on the Hammond. It's craziness here on both sides. And XL2 starting to get a little bit of an edge, but they lose Mangachu. Might have gone too deep. Now you see NRG going back to the other side. The hammer is dropped. Swan moves in, and NRG likely to maintain control now.
Now Nene, he has to back away. He's got high charge, about 50 energy here. Gonna soak up a little bit more. And that is gonna be important here because Smex, during that time, even though they had both used a grab at the same time, Smex has found himself in the lead in terms of ultimate charge, already at 30%. Remember, here, this is looking like old school. Li Xiong with the charge comes out with the Nano Boost once again. They get the kill onto Swan.
Yeah, Swan's have it immediately, and XL2 goes,
oh,
yeah, reprioritize the objective. And, he had nowhere to go. It's like the classic take a nap next to the self-destruct maneuver where it's just like, that's the world's worst alarm clock. You know, a little bit too explosive. I'm a deep sleeper, but even I won't go that far.
I mean, I wake up to Linkin Park, and that is still a ruder awakening. And now, XL2, after flipping the point, they are a little bit behind in terms of percentage. Is at 46. Again, Swan goes for another charge, but he has a lot of the defensive skills there to keep him alive.
Fair is out. Specs really wants to land this grab. Doesn't hit the trigger yet. Now goes for it. Lands in 3. NRG just able to swoop on in. They drop the Colossus for good measure. Beam him on down. Send him to another dimension as NRG gets to go on in and retake the point.
And again in this fight, Nene answers a grab for a grab, but NRG had just the power behind it to finish it off. XL2, they could desperately use it, and especially into this fight, into this retake, as NRG are getting close to taking this point. They're at 80%, and now Rascal, he's on the lurk, he's in the back, he's built up an EMP, and so this is dangerous position for XL2 to be in.
Does have to back out. Meanwhile, Tizzy, Earth Shatter ready, drops it, grabs one. Shield is gonna keep him in the fight, though. XL2 goes, okay, we still got more. We're gonna what a Shatter, knocks down everyone. Swan sets the stage with his hammer, and NRG now well on their way to taking round number 1 away from XL2.
Overtime ticking away, and XL2 are trying their best to maintain some sort of presence, but the Coalescence is there. They're gonna get the DMEC onto Wuyao, and now it's just left to Adam to defend, but it's just the lone Lucio. No one able to make it here. We got the emergency Doomfist from Nene. We saw some shenanigans earlier, but no, Smacks will shut him down.
And we say, there will be no more delay. Immediately just take it down. No more last minute 90-second delay from Nene, but of course he also was on Tracer.
Oh man, these Ryan battles right now. Tizzy, so much more aggressive. We're seeing continually that he gets that barrier from Nene, goes in for the charge. Got punished once, survived twice, but for the most part, he does play a very aggressive style, which has allowed Swan to get some incredible Earth Shatters off. 2 really good ones in that last round.
Is it me, or is it getting a little bit chilly in here? Because I'm taking a look here. Might want to invest in a winter jacket. Certainly May has, as both teams are going to be coming out here with May. But this doesn't surprise me. Mangachu's comfortable on it, Rascal's comfortable on it, and it has been favored here in the control center now.
This is a real treat, getting to see 2 world-class Mays facing off right now. It is almost mirrored compositions. Again, Rob favoring the Moira as Goliath goes over for the Ana. They got the wall off, but good on Swan to get out of there, make sure he doesn't get charged, but ooh, that Zarya almost got frozen up. Luckily for Nene, he did have that barrier.
Yeah, I mean, Swan almost got taken out early on the NRG side just to go the other side around. Early ice block coming out here from Mangachu in the process of losing. Nice shield, but it's not enough. Mangachu still bursted on down, and NRG, man advantage. Wall from Rascal, a little bit misplaced. He was looking for the split off. And yet, NRG, still, they have the advantage. They're gonna get first control.
You saw a little bit of tech there, Rascal. They didn't want to use up all of his ammo. Nice wall off, but of course it's the D.Va able to get away. But now another wall of the charges coming out. Both Reinhardt's on the ground, but it's the freeze coming out from Rascal that stops Tizzy in his tracks. They're not even follow up quite yet. Another wall off as NRG back away, try to get their tanks topped off.
And hey, NRG, not only do they have control here, they're on their way to taking the first map. And XL2, they all get caught by the Graviton. Smacks, it's a welcome party. Get on out of here, says NRG. There's no party after all. As XL2 is once more thrown back to spawn, and Rascal slams the door.
30% on the board already for NRG. 70 now away from walking away from the first map up against XL2 Academy. Luckily for Nene, he didn't answer for grab because he didn't have a grab that time. He's almost got it now, though, and they'll be able to combine it if they want to with the Blizzard, with possibly a self-destruct as they get close, but Rascal gets caught out by that Fire Strike.
6 on 5, new, just a good moment here for XL2. They drop the Blizzard aside, and yep, that's gonna be a frozen Specs right out of it. But this is a heavy over-investment of ultimates coming in from XL2. I don't think all of this was required with the early pickoff, guys, but they still drained a lot of their firepower.
And it's fine, though. They did use a grab, they did use the Blizzard. Generally, they're used together instead of kind of like piecemeal there to try and finish off a fight. But because they do have Tizzy, who's got the Earth Shatter, along with that Self-Destruct and Sound Barrier, they have tools to buy time for Nene. And we know Nene, he can build up these grabs so incredibly quickly.
Of course, Nene right now, well, immediately goes up another 6%, landed a nice secondary fire, though XL2 in pressure here. Tizzy cut off, Earth Shatter doesn't do much of anything, and now XL2 invests more. Sound Barrier in, Self-Destruct right down the middle, doesn't connect, but actually did get the back on the other end, and as a result, XL2 now able to push out NRG. They maintain space.
Honestly, that was a great self-destruct coming out from Wuyao. It didn't accomplish much from the looks of things, right? It only gets the DMEC onto Poise, but they saw that Tizzy was caught out. He was almost frozen by that Mei, and then from there, once your main tank is gone, your team initially falls. Ooh, Adam with the spam gets robbed, and so that is some valuable stall as XL2 are now at 54%.
Adam is the most silent person in the kill feed, where he's almost never picked off early, doesn't get a whole lot of pickups himself, but he's a rock for XL2. And speaking of rocking it for XL2, Nene has the Graviton ready to make NRG love their neighbor a little bit more, gets a grab on the wall, and here comes Mangachu. You gotta drop the Blizzard on in. Yeah, he's gonna make it a little bit icy in here. Earth Shatter from Swan blocked on the other side. Colossus gonna keep XL2 alive, and there might be walls everywhere, but right now it's XL2 that's standing on top of them.
That's just another great ultimate usage to disengage. They got grab, he throws down the Blizzard, and NRG are not able to follow up at all. These walls, the mind games with hit them. Oh, Rascal has to be careful. He uses the ice block to stay alive now, but they have to run towards the point. Here's the blizzard. Did it get eaten? No, it's still out there, but it doesn't catch anyone.
Mangachu got the weather report. He saw the storm front coming in from the back, and he was ready to take an alternate course. XL2 back on the point, in firm numerical control. NRG on the brink. Swan nowhere close to an Earth Shatter. Graviton out once more from Nene, and that could be the finisher. And it is. We're going to a round 3. Bring us to this start.
Man, the May battles here is just something we never, ever get to see. This is a real treat right now between Rascal and Mangachu that they are showing us how to really utilize these May walls. Of course, there are different ways you can use it, right? For the disengage, or try to go for that engage, cut off the enemy team, and then split them up and take them apart 2-3 members at a time now. But as we move over here onto Garden, we don't see as many Mays. We're gonna see Soldier 76s, it looks like. Nene versus Poise. And so we don't get to see Poise on a Soldier 76 quite often. This is gonna be interesting that neither side want to try and run a Pharah.
Either side deciding they want an Air Force. Instead, they're calling in the Army. It's respectable. NRG going to be ground and pound. Both teams running a 76. Nene staying with the rest of his team. XL2 giving up the position in the point and said, look, the back's around. Oh, Nene bounced off. Fozix found his moment. Made Nene feel the beat, and then he felt the ground. 4-on-4 though, as Rascal explodes in the back. Let's let SMG do the talking for him. NRG gonna be getting first control here.
Yeah, these compositions are really supposed to be boots on the ground, but it was boots on the ground 3 stories down there as they got the boop. And of course, just Rascal able to mow them down with the SMG. He's already at 71% towards that EMP. And the way that XL2 are grouping up, they have to be careful. They have to be wary of it.
Right now you see Rascal in the back. Oh, easy pickings. Got Goliath in the corner. And XL2 now down to main support. NRG, they like what they see. They're gonna penetrate deep into the white room here. And now Poise has the attack visor ready. Swan gets Wui on the other end. And that is nice coming in from NRG.
Rascal wasn't even able to build up the EMP there. It was so close to it at 71%. Now, even though that was a full team wipe, he just got that EMP. Just so much more was being done by everyone else. This is so insane right now, the amount of damage that Rascal and Poise are both putting out here. Now, no, we said that at times Poise was a liability, but now the Tactical Visor along with the EMP comes out, but there is the Transcendence to cover it.
EMP's out on both sides, but XL2, they had the better initiation. The attack visor from Nene seals the deal. And yet NRG, they can feel real happy about the way that this has gone on so far. XL2 far behind, 1% to 58. NRG has a large barrier to work with here, though don't let yourself get staggered like that. Nene taking sweet advantage.
3 for 2 in ultimate usage in that last fight. It was the rally, the EMP, along with the tactical visor out from XL2, while NRG, they used the Transcendence and an EMP of their own. So I'm surprised that they weren't able to fight back into that. But XL2, just great focus fire here, flipping it, 58%. But now it's going to be a tactical visor out from Poise as they charge forward.
I like that. You get the self-destruct on one side, attack visor on the other. Adam had nowhere to go, but into that bomb, blown to smithereens. NRG working with an edge. Swan, though, gets caught by Nene. Nene laying damage on the outskirts. Tizzy, low, but good disruption nonetheless. Mangachu, EMP loaded, doesn't want to use it in this fight if he can help it, and he won't have to. NRG, they're going to go for the reset. XL2 fighting their way back.
42, 43% now for XL2, and their ultimate usage becoming a lot more measured here. They're going to have a tactical visor on Nene. They've got the sound barrier along with the EMP, and the last time they had an EMP, they were able to win out that fight. Rob has to be careful. Coming into this one, they could either try to go for a dry run, try to force out ultimates from XL2, or they go for the engage with an early Transcendence. They're going to go for the engage.
Mangachu is going for the EMP. He says, well, you just transcended, I'm not going to do it now. But now, that moment of hesitation, you see NRG pick up 3. Poise getting into the swing of things here, ends up with 3. A nice engage on the way in for Poise. Adds up 4. Why not? NRG retakes, but XL2, they bought themselves back into this game.
That was such a decisive team fight win. XL2 at 74%. And so, NRG They need to win 2 more big fights now, as we do have Megachu routing Rascal around both of these Sombras with the EMPs ready. There we go. It comes down onto Rav, who survives with a sliver of HP.
Self-destruct comes out, and no, Megachu didn't want to do it that early. He was knocked out. He used the EMP under pressure, which means that NRG is able to live on through. They use an EMP of their own, and XL2 getting thrown back. NRG, one team fight away from taking map 1 from XL2.
Megachu was so close to taking out Rob. Did you see how close he was? He was about 5 HP there. Now Nene is swapping off onto Tracer, and that is the danger zone for NRG. But Megachu's already dropped low. He goes down to Fozix.
And Nene's out of it. Nene's not walking through that door. Nene's back at spawn. NRG up 2-man advantage right now. They drop a Transcendence. It might be all cleanup from here. XL2 just simply running out of time, running out of tools, running out of people. They just don't have anything left, as NRG is shocking the world right now. Gonna be grabbing this away from XL2. We're gonna have ourselves a series.
Now Nene, he did this yesterday, trying to stall it out with a Tracer. It's not gonna happen this time. Will be NRG to take Lijiang.
All right, well, the 3-0 prediction has officially been shattered, but the 3-1 is still alive. It's still alive.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm out immediately, unfortunately. You saw the turn come. It's like, yep, I'm gone. But it was also nice stuff coming out from NRG. And also, I mean, you look at how this developed here, where NRG was getting the better on the ult side repeatedly, whether it be forcing out ultimates early, just having good patience. Ult economy for NRG has looked better than I think it has all season long.
And to be fair, for that prediction, I did take like the Price is Right route of basically, you know, voting for $1. Right?
That's true. Yeah,
so,
you did.
You're a scumbag. I hate those people on Price is Right. That's like, if I ever went on that show, I would probably go on that show just to complain to the person who does that. It's like, I had a well-educated guess, and you're just going to piggyback on my knowledge. That's terrible.
And you know what? He is riding the wave, just like NRG was riding the wave of amazing tank play going into those games.
I mean, this was great tank battles between Tizzy and Swan. Both sides, really, it was very methodical in how they made these approaches. NRG, though, tried to go a bit more, XL2 tried to go a bit more aggressive with Tizzy, and it was Swan continually answering, responding to it and taking advantage of it. We saw there on Night Market, he had some great shatters because he saw Tizzy out of position and getting them off.
Absolutely. I feel like XL2 just needs to take a deep breath, calm down, and really focus a little bit more, because it seemed that they were just, like you said, a bit scattered. Their ult economy was way off. They were popping ults too soon. They were using them in succession when they didn't need to. It just seemed a little bit messy, but NRG was very coordinated, and that's what XL2 needs to be right now.
Also, if we're being completely fair here, is that when you hype someone up to be really good and you do it off a track record, which we did for Nene, I don't think it was Nene's best performance here. It was not sort of God-slaying Nene. It was average business casual Nene, and XL2 usually gets a lot more production than that, so I think it was a very slow start from Nene compared to what we've expected from him.
Yeah, there were about 2 questionable grabs alone on Night Market, and then from there, that's where you do see a lot of things not working out for XL2. Going for that grab versus grab generally doesn't work out. You got to be careful. Maybe just hold on to it and really measure out how many ultimates are used by the opposite side in that quick moment, and then just decide to hold on to it. There were so many different fights that they could have taken if they had held on to it, but instead they're waiting around once again where XL2 time and again for Nene to build up a grab.
We also didn't see that McCree that we were really expecting to see on Control Center, which kind of surprised me. But we talked a little bit about Poise earlier. Do you think that he's playing as well as he could be?
Poise is playing way better than we've seen him all season long. I mean, look, if we're going to rip off the Band-Aid here and be blunt, Poise was a liability throughout the regular season. He was not playing well for NRG in most of the matches. He is, however, playing well now, and he's getting to play on heroes that don't really have to dive as deep, or if they are diving deep, they have the cover of stealth. It has been an improved Poise here so far, and that's not something we've been able to see throughout most of the regular season.
Well, our next map we will be going to is Kings Row, our hybrid map. If you had to pick one of these teams to have an advantage on hybrid maps, who would you go with?
I would still go with XL2. I think you have an entire season of data behind you. Obviously, this patch has made things a lot closer than the front runners would really care to expect. I still think XL2 can bounce back.
I have to stick with XL2 here because, again, I do have faith in the Nene Chu. You have to. They've had such a solid performance all season long. Now, there are mistakes in that last map, but this is a team that knows how to make the adjustments, and so I'm going to stick with them.
All right, well, NRG is up 1 map, but the desk has faith in the Nene Choo-Choo train. Will we see it come to fruition and take this map?
All right, XL2, take a look at what they're setting up here. They do have a swap up where they have really enjoyed putting Nanohana on Junkrat, on Kings Row specifically, where if they're on Eichenwald, they would probably be running Mangachu, but on this particular map, they like the Junkrat, and it's clear that they value Nanohana as a Junkrat a bit over Mangachu, but this is a sort of different dancing partner to the Junkrat, where they're going to be opening up the McCree. Usually it's been a Widow.
I mean, it was almost a year ago to this day where Nanohana was striking fear in everyone's hearts with the old Junkrat, where he only had the one concussive mind. So this is basically really synonymous with him, as much as it is synonymous with another OWL player. Don't need to name him right now. NRG already taking a surprising 1-0 lead up against XL2. Will be on the offense here. Now Poise is already hovering over the Tracer while Rascal is on the Sombra, and we were expecting that to be swapped around, ZP.
Also, just the other thought, I just gotta say, Jake is pretty good at Junkrat, so I'm just gonna say what everyone's thinking. If you're gonna reference notable Junkrat players, you know, I don't shy from the truth here. But NRG going to get ready to hop on in on this first attack. Rascal on the Sombra. Poise going through the hotel here early on the Tracer. Ooh, already gets chunked, almost ends up being first step. Remember, this has not been Poise's specialty on the Tracer. It's been a rougher go for him. They put Rascal onto the Sombra, and so far XL2 has been a pretty good job of controlling space in the back.
We do have the Cowboy out though, so a lot of control available for them on the high ground here. They got the traps, but oh no, Wuyall jumps down, he gets D-Mac, and Clone Man has fallen. XL2 have lost their tank line. When Nanohana tries to answer back, it still might not be enough. It's just Poise who fell.
Oh, it's absolutely not going to be enough. Specs is making sure of that, cleaning up everything in the back line. And NRG was a little bit messy in the beginning, but off the play of Specs, able to pierce through, get this very first capture. And this is a very quick time as well. Only a minute and 2 seconds off the clock.
How did Specs get juked by Wuyall there? They like flew by in the dead of night across each other. Now, Nanohana's gonna go ahead and make his swap off, and this is interesting. Going over to Brigitte, we see her come out often when they need to deal with like a dive with a Genji, generally as an answer for that. So this is an odd one, as he was on the Junkrat before and he had some good ultimate charge, so now this is gonna stop and stunt the momentum that XL2 could have tried to build up off of a tire.
NRG, they get to slow things down a little bit. Specs under a lot of pressure, but he backs out. Gets healing from Rom. Nene in the library. That is not a legal arm to bring to a library. Doesn't care. Ooh, gets stomped on by Swan, and NRG starting to fight this back a bit. There's a bit of ult edge coming in. Specs continuing to just oppress the back line while also putting pressure on the tanks. Clone Man and Wuyall down. NRG up, and they're going to continue to push us through point B.
Oh, they even get the late staggered elimination onto Nanohana. And the thing is, as XL2, if you're losing these fights, you want to at least lose the fights on the payload, but the payload's been moving this entire time, no contest whatsoever with 3 members. So already, at about 4 minutes, they're about to get the second checkpoint.
This is quite quick for NRG and a big turnaround to the negative end for XL2. NRG on fire, easily getting point B. XL2 wants no part of that extra engage.
5.5 minutes on the clock for NRG, moving on to the third phase of King's Row here, entering the Foundry portion. Poise is doing so much damage. He's already got that Dragon Strike ready for his team. Doesn't have a combo, but does he really need it? Are they gonna nano it is what I'm looking towards.
Poise holding the back, and yeah, I mean, they might decide to go for that here. NRG, though, again, not really being too aggressive, letting XL2 make, oh boy, this is a bad way to be a Zenyatta. Goliath just gets hacked, and this is just Rascal. Good use of resources, doesn't open up the EMP. However, while that was going on, he did have the counter engage coming in from XL2, and that might be enough. Rascal didn't look at his watch there.
Yeah, if it weren't for Clone Man there, they might not have been able to fight back. Swan trying his best with this Winston, but he is so low HP, is able to jump on back. But yeah, that was a great flank from Rascal. I don't know what Goliath was quite doing there. There was a hacked health pack. As a Zenyatta, you don't stand around a hacked health pack for the opposing team. You're already out of zone at that point. Now Rascal, on the high ground, he's got the EMP and the translocator is out to get himself out of dodge. Oh, almost bursted down by Wuyall there, who was so close.
Wuyall was going on a bit of a scavenger hunt and found the Sombra, 100 points as it turns out. NRG, however, still full HP. Rascal gonna dive on in, drops the EMP, self-destruct in there with him. But self-destruct went the other way. It caught Specs before he could remech. And actually, XL2, the counter engage is far better, so NRG had a big opportunity there, and it's gone to the wayside. Nice positioning from XL2 to make that happen.
It was a lot of ultimates, though, committed by XL2. He self-destruct, they used both support ultimates, and now Adam is going to go ahead and swap off here from that Lucio onto the Mercy. So this is where it's going to be protect the Cowboy, protect Nene, keep him pocketed while Nanohana just plays bodyguard for him. Poise does swap off now, going over to the Widowmaker. So Adam is going to be a bit more vulnerable. Nene swaps off onto the Widow. We're going to have some Widow battles.
All right, and this gets Nene back into his comfort zone, gets him in a situation where he should be able to handle Poise easier based on what we saw during the regular season. But look at NRG, they have the Transcendence ready. Cloman, oh, he thought he'd get the Primal, but guess what? Fozic says, no way. NRG now, they double down, they use the Transcend, Swan goes even deeper, and XL2, off that mistake from Cloman, is in a whole world of hurt.
Booyah gets demeched and instantly shut down, and now the Transcendence comes on out. There are 4 members here for XL2, and they're fighting back. Cloman and Nene take out both supports, and that is huge. That's gonna allow XL2 to stabilize off this fight. NRG, though, still have so much time to work with. 2 minutes and 45 seconds currently on the clock for them. And so now this is where we do see a lot of teams struggle. Poise goes back over to the Widowmaker again. Never mind, a lot of swaps coming out now. Swan onto the Reinhardt. Poise over to the Brigitte. They are doubting. They want to finish this off, and so they are going to go for the Quasi-Goats.
Yep, the not quite 3-3, but the Goats Sombra style as
Cyber
it was.
Goats.
Yeah, but why not? Where you still keep options for the MP, but you still want to have a really strong, tanky presence here on the point. Nene, meanwhile, going, why don't you break that shield? Let me get close and personal here with the Reinhardt. Swan taken down. Of course, he didn't have much left in the tank, and this is not quite as divey as NRG would like. In fact, XL2, they're handling it just fine as Rob finds his way back to spawn, courtesy of Nene.
And that's what happens. Nene, he has so much space to work with. Nanohana just playing the front line with Cloman, with Wuyal, means that Nene doesn't have to worry for anything. There's no one to really deal with him either, because it is a very frontline heavy NRG Esports composition. Rascal is really the only one that's going to try and get into the back line, but is he really going to want to do that up against the Widowmaker, who does have about similar rate of fire, who can take that 1v1 up against him?
Nene just putting an aura of intimidation here. Okay, Rascal, he's looking to the support lines, but he's going to go a little bit further up, wants to be closer to his team for the escape. Now just waiting. Rascal is the one they're waiting for to start this push. He's gonna go back to join his team. Didn't look inside. Oh, Nene caught him right away. Nene goes, no. No EMP. We're keeping the lights nice and on. I like my air conditioning. Stay away from my team.
And the only one right now at this point touching Nene was Fozic there on the Lucio. There's nothing being done about him whatsoever, which is surprising. Why aren't NRG making the swap off? Why aren't they going for a Reinhardt? Why aren't they, or excuse me, for a Winston, for a Genji here? They're sticking with this Sombra, who's not able to get into the back. You saw Rascal was continually looking for his opening, but if he goes for that EMP, if he goes for a translocator, the supports are in the back spotting that out.
Okay, well, NRG, they are gonna commit heavier than they have before. Rascal lets EMP loose, and now look to XL2. How are they gonna deal with it? The self-destruct covers it. Wuyao was ready. The self-destruct doesn't let NRG dive as much as they wanted to. They're able to get Nanohana back up. The Earth Shadow comes in from Swan, but NRG isn't quite able to move on in. They get Nanohana. Oh, touch the point. XL2 almost lets that one swing right by them. A 1 meter difference. They now have to keep people on the point no matter what. NRG, all bodies available, but Nanohana's coming back out. Rally to me. Nene gets Rascal, and XL2 now fighting it back. Time running out from NRG. If they drop now, they won't get another attempt. They have to throw everything in, and XL2 doesn't care. They're finishing them off.
69.55 meters. So close. Take a look as you see on the feed there. 0.71 meters. That's all they needed to finish off this map now. XL2, they're going to go ahead and set themselves a pretty good win condition here, despite NRG having so much time here on the third phase. We get to see what happens once Nene goes back onto his absolute comfort zone, and then he's playing so lavishly with so much space, so much free real estate to work with because of the space provided to him by his entire team.
Yeah, I mean, XL2 got back to what they do really, really well, and NRG got back into a zone that I don't think they do so well on at all. What I don't understand in all of that is that Rascal, objectively, has one of the best Brigittes that we have seen in all of Contenders when he's played the hero. He has turned that hero into a quasi-DPS hero. That's how good he is on it. Poise has played a very good Sombra relative to the rest of his hero pool. I don't understand why, when you have these hero talents between these two players, that you decide to put Poise on the Brigida and Rascal on the Sombra when they're both better if you swap them back the other way. That's what I'm not getting here. Where I think NRG, if they had played more to their strengths, I think they could have at least finished out the map.
And on the opposite end, Nanohana spent the majority of that last defense actually on the Brigida himself, and he was playing that very aggressive style that you were looking for. With the help of Cloneman and Wuyao, he was continually just shutting down Swan. Now Swan, we had mentioned, you know, he had a huge impact on the first map on Lijiang, but this time around he was completely shut down. There was nothing he could do as he was getting swarmed by everybody from XL2, and of course, Nene just continually in the back line with that Widowmaker peppering away at him. Now XL2, they're going on to the offense here.
You know, one day I want to see Adam live his dreams and just come out of the Doomfist.
Yeah.
He's the eternal support, the eternal rock of his team. And instead, he's going to go to Lucio. So, Adam, one day I want you to live your dreams.
At least he's playing Lucio now. He's been stuck on Mercy for quite some time. So he's getting to diversify a bit, as they are going to go for a full dive composition. Lucio Zen, what is this, 2017?
Yeah, we're going real back in time right now. It's like, you know what? We actually like this. We're going to enable a super fast dive, and Nanohana gets hacked. But because it was mid-dash, when he's surrounded by tankiness, it doesn't quite matter. Nene gonna be really split off from this team. You got one part of XL2 diving deep. Nene, the front line, and goes, wait. Do I want to go back here? He's going to go for the high ground, and it's still going to be a flank attack coming in as XL2 is fully gone to the backside.
Yeah, this is the Jaws theme playing here at this point. They're waiting for the shark to show his face here. Rascal drops down, and it's Goliath who cleans him up. Rascal, what are you doing there now? As Nene is looking for the clean, but Nanohana gets taken out by Phosix.
Ooh, and XL2, they're just getting the better of this fight. I like their engagement coming in, and when you get Rascal down immediately, who's generally been the savior of NRG, guess what? It's probably going to be a good fight that ends up in your favor. NRG doing a good job of delaying, but I don't think this is going to be like the Legion where they were able to bring it back last minute against it. But as I say that, the nano boost on Swan might be making me think twice. NRG get back on in. Post bump from Nene, though, finishes off the emergency Doomfist from Rascal, and I think XL2 still likely has this unlock.
Yeah, that's the second tick coming on in, but it looks like Smex is going to touch it for just a moment now. He's just able to bounce in and out, but here comes the blade out from Nanohana. He's on top of the supports, but he has to be careful. Great deflect, takes out Rob, and that is XL2 walking away with the first point. 5 minutes on the clock now. NRG, they need to make some adjustments here to try and deal with XL2. Luckily, they do have Poise on the Sombra as Rascal gets caught out once again.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that happened. I mean, Rascal, or Doomfist is pretty good about getting away from those situations. Rascal goes, enough of this, I'm going to Brigida.
It's also Nene chasing you down, and we know the kind of mobility he has on this Tracer, as Swan is forced to use that Primal Rage early on. EMP even comes out for Poise. Clone Man does get punished, but there might be some more.
And Nene's still alive. Just to make that clear, it could have been a good stagger. It's not. He now gets time to loop around the pump. His pulse bomb is up. XL2 is waiting for Nene to set the stage right now. He's going in on this larger flank. He's taking the scenic route right now, but now he's going to be drawing attention back towards him. XL2 coming in from the front. Nanohana takes advantage of the distraction, and now Nene dives in, gets a pulse bomb onto D.Va, and this is looking good for XL2.
Oh, the pulse bomb connects, gets the D-Mech, and it's going to be Clone Man to chase down him, and now XL2 continuing to push this payload forward, and it's because that stagger was so costly for NRG. I mean, just to get out there onto the street space, we saw that Swan, he had to use the Primal Rage, and Poise had to use, well, didn't have to use, but they used the EMP just to get out and try to fight here. But now as we come around this bend, they're looking like they want to try and contest as Swan swaps over to the Wrecking Ball.
Last moment Wrecking Ball, but Nanohana goes, I got myself a sword! Gets Rob in the back, and now gets hacked midway through. That might put an end to a minute. Oh, okay. Phosix at one point going, please, someone help me. I do think he was able to Guardian Angel back, and actually, he gets Rob back into the fight. The sneakiness from Phosix works out. Swan making space here. This is not XL2's fight yet. Swan just rolls it back, goes, actually, gonna roll back the other way. And you take a look at this, it's back and forth, but NRG is a shot. Yeah,
Nene is still alive though, so you have to be careful. It looks like they're gonna finally back away. But let's talk about that hack coming up from Poise onto Nanohana, who was going for that blade. You could see in his eyes, he wanted to go down for that Mercy. He's like, Phosix, I'm coming. Oh, I am hacked. I can't double jump. I can't dash. If it weren't for that, Fozix would have been dead. Nanohana was going to go for it 100%.
Yeah, I think Nanohana looks at it as like, no, this is not worth it. Even if I were able to take you out here, I don't think I'm actually getting back up.
Oh, it was so close. But now, with the emergency swap off onto the Hammond, he's already got his minefield. He's looking for a flank. He's going in for it.
Here we go. Swings on in. Doesn't quite get the distance into the deep depths of it that he would have liked. Holds onto the minefield, but does roll away with his life. Of course, Nene now on McCree. Nanohana has built another blade. NRG, though, Poise has the EMP. He can shut this down. Gives up his life for the EMP, but he turns out the lights, and Swan and Rascal get the cleanup by just diving in right after, and Swan is making good use of this Hammond.
Now, they did commit 2 ultimates into that. It was the EMP along with the Valkyrie, while XL2 were able to hold on to everything there. Now, Nene, who we got to see with the McCree yesterday, was able to find some really good angles, but it's so difficult here, especially against the mobile composition of NRG. If he leaves himself vulnerable in that animation, I mean, Swan can just jump on him. Poise can shut it down with a hack, and Specs can get into his face with micro rockets. Rascal has now swapped off onto Brigitte in response to Nanohana's blade.
Nanohana holding onto the blade, and as you mentioned, Rascal is going to be the one that's like, you know what, maybe put the blade away, this is a no-sharp zone. Nanohana gets chunked so much, has to wait to get healed up. It's not quite the blade he was looking for at the beginning, but it still might be the blade he wanted in the end. Goes the other way, takes Steve out of the mech. Rascal, who was supposed to shut him down, was shut down in turn. XL2, though, they don't have it cleanly here just yet. NRG has been stymieing them on the point. However, Clowman kept the supports out of it. There wasn't as much healing with the disruption, and I think finally XL2 is gonna get it over the threshold, and they do.
2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, though, and we saw that NRG with 5 struggled to very nearly not make it to the finish line. But still, XL2, they do have this dive composition, which really does favor a high-tempo matchup. Now, Swan going on in, the pile driver connects onto a few. He gets focused down, but he's able to roll out to safety now. NRG just trying to buy some time for their ultimate to come online. Rascal's getting close to his rally, but it's Smacks who's gonna get demeched.
TikTok, time might be out here as Swan wasn't able to grapple back up. Pulse Bomb connects from Nene, opens the way. XL2 cleanly getting through NRG here, and now I'm not sure NRG can recover. They went for the res, but that could just be more stagger. Rascal, enemies on all sides. His inner self is discorded as XL2. Now they drop the Transcends, and by the way, I think the news might be getting worse. It is. Nanohana has the blade. Once the CMP goes away, he can use it, but oh, the Hammond back the other way. Does enough disruption, and that was a great EMP by Poise.
I mean, it wasn't just the fire shield he was rolling out with at that point, like Sonic. He also had the Mercy pocket that entire time. He was just running around like a will-o-wisp at that point. And now at this point, NRG able to slow them down just enough. It's coming down to final fight territory, and a lot was used into that last fight by XL2. They're almost starting to run out of gas. They do have a blade, they're gonna have a sound barrier, and it's gonna be Clone Man who needs to try and buy space for Nanohana to succeed. Clone Man so close with that primal rage, but there's the engage again.
Nanohana gets hacked early on, but if you're Nanohana right now, you have to wonder who you are. You need to be a who are you moment here. Hack, gone, blade in, dives, gets Rascal, looking for a little bit more, gets Poise on the other side, and the blade long awaited, but it's done enough for Nanohana here. And even with Smex finding a bit onto Wuyall, it's an overwhelming edge for XL2. They get to the green box of victory, and they even up the series 1-1.
Nanohana activated, there we go. We finally get to see it all season long. You know, we were expecting him to try finally peak here. And again, players are poised from the other side from NRG, but this time it's Nanohana to tie it all up.
I feel like the playoffs are what really light a fire under the players' butts, so we get to see them at full action. It's like every player had their own little nano boost put onto them. It's great to see.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I do think is worth noting is that Nanohana definitely did enough here, had multiple good moments, but just to kind of go to the idea that's not always as simple as, you know, getting boosted and diving on in. And granted, Nanohana wasn't getting the boost in these situations, but there is a difference in Genji play initiation, and Nanohana still did enough to give XL2 the edge here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also have to say that my favorite part of watching this particular map was Nene's flank on Tracer. He really played the long game, went around, like, pulled attention to himself, which let the rest of the team engage, and it was just a well-coordinated attack, which is what I expect from XL2. We didn't see on the last map, and they took a deep breath and pulled it out here on King's Row, and it warmed my heart to see.
Yeah, and that's what happens if you don't match Tracer for Tracer, if you don't match Genji for Genji, and like play the mirror matchups. That allows them to walk away with that instant mobility, to have the freedom to do almost whatever they want. Now, he did have to worry, of course, about Rascal, but why would you have to worry if you're going to dispatch them with a pulse bomb like that?
Also, can we talk about the sweet touch there, where, I mean, he still had the angle in such a way to get through the shield as he was just laying that over there.
Here,
and,
hold on to this for me.
and by the way, that's risky in the same note, where I think he knew that Brigitte had her cooldowns on cooldown there, but, you know, he looked at the face of death, didn't blink, and actually delivered it himself. And that's just the sort of stuff that Nene does with scary frequency.
Absolutely. Well, we are all tied up here in day 3 of the playoffs, in our last game of the semifinals. So much more fun action coming up right after a quick break, so you're not going to want to miss it.